Located between the city of Miami Beach and Bal Harbour, the town of Surfside is one of Miami-Dade County's most unique residential communities. With a population of around 6,000, the town of Surfside is uniquely focused on maintaining a high-quality standard of living for its residents. Beachfront development has been restricted to residential and non-commercial use, allowing residents unrestricted access to enjoy the beach. Driving through Surfside on Collins Avenue, the typical motorist is unaware of one of the region's most ambitious and important environmental projects in all of South Florida, the rejuvenation of the town of Surfside's beachfront. Recognizing the need to restore the beach to a more natural state, the city of Surfside formed an alliance with federal and state agencies to rejuvenate the beach.
Well, the project has been very important for Surfside's present and future for a number of reasons. Primary amongst the reasons that it's important are that in terms of public safety, this newly expanded beach provides a great deal of extra protection for our residential communities, because in the event of a tidal surge, which is the most dangerous part of a hurricane for us here, this will prevent, in most cases, any water from getting into the residential area from the ocean. And Surfside lies right between the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway, so we're in a significant risk without protections such as these. So that's vitally important and invaluable to our people and our property. But also there are obvious recreational benefits, quality of life benefits, economic benefits for the tourism industry and the many people that depend upon that. But just in terms of an all-round plus, this is a great example of that. And it turned out to be also an example of cooperation amongst the various levels of government. So in the process of producing it and in the final result, it's a very positive project.
And Surfside is unique in the world of beachside communities in terms of not seeing a lot of commercial development right on the beach. Can you speak to those aspects of Surfside?
Well, Surfside has been recognized as having a very public interest-oriented zoning policy. We strictly enforce zoning heights and densities and setbacks and uses to protect the character of the community. So unlike many other areas, for example, we haven't granted a single variance for height or density for a development in this entire decade, all through the time that the current officials have been in office. There hasn't been one variance of that kind approved. So we walk the walk and we do enforce the code, and it's not always an easy thing to do, but in terms of providing for a positive future for a community, it's something that must be done, and we do it well here. Part of Surfside's activity and role in helping to bring this about included working with officials at the federal level, the state level, and the county level to inform and to bring to their attention how desperately needed this was. I mean, if you show the pictures of how it used to be, you'll see the vast difference, and it reflects the exposure of all of the residential and tourism and commercial properties in the area. So we hope to demonstrate the need and then to work cooperatively with all of these agencies in a very interesting way. I know Mr. Rodriguez will elaborate on it because he was there on the front lines in bringing this together. But having a set of agencies working cooperatively, but at the same time checking on each other and with a constant swirl of checks and balances to make sure that the project is done properly.
Well, this is a project that was a big effort of coordination and help from the different entities of government here. It's a complex situation, involved the Corps of Engineers, involved the state of Florida DEP, and involved DERM and the local authority here at the town of Surfside. Go ahead.
How long did it take to get the whole project started, or was there a lot of background?
Yeah, this project took almost 6 years since the beginning to now. And definitely it's a project that is funded 50% from the feds, 25% from the state, and 25% from DERM, local. So basically, take time to bring it over. It's an approved project. This area is an approved project by the Corps of Engineers and DEP. So we're going to see every time that we have erosion of this magnitude in the town, they're going to come and fill it out.
The project is about a lot more than aesthetics.
Actually, the sale is dependent on the Congress, United States Congress, because they have a tendency to start cutting funds of this kind of project. That's the project that the community need in reality. They should be allocated the money where the community needed in reality. This is, you see, it's a linear park all along the town of Surfside. It's a recreational park in reality, and a linear park, we can call it. It's a regional resource. This is enjoyed by all the town residents. Not only that, people from all over Dade County come here, and from outside United States also as a tourist. So this is also have an impact in the local economy. But the federal are trying to cut resources, and well, up to now we prevail, and they're still allocating the money.
Different groups were working together, and how was that coordinated?
I can tell you the relationship between the different entities is excellent, basically. The three agencies are very concerned with environmental issues. They are concerned with the quality of the sand. As you see, this time we don't have any rocks on the beach. That's a big difference between 20 years ago, the last time that was renourishing, have a lot of rocks. This is filtering, and that's as a result of new guidelines to put quality sand on the beaches. Also, as the mayor said before, it's a lot of check and balances. You know, one agency checked that the turbidity, in other words, the emulsion of sand on the water doesn't exceed certain levels. In addition to that, it's working out according with the turtle season. As you see here today, what they're doing is providing the quality of that the sand is sufficiently soft for the turtle to lay out the eggs. So all of that is as a result of the cooperation of the different agencies.
To tell them how to do it?
That is a factor. We get a lot of calls from other cities, basically, how to get the project done, especially how to work with the Federal Corps of Engineers. And basically, we really work very fine with them. So, you know, we're giving advice to other municipalities how to make that relationship a friendly relationship and that work for the goal, the last goal, that is get this project done.
My name is George Cooper. I'm area engineer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'm responsible for construction management on Corps of Engineer projects in southeast Florida. This project is the second beach renourishment for Surfside and South Miami Beach. The contract amount is about $12 million. The way the Corps of Engineers gets projects like this built is we will develop a set of plans and specifications, and we will advertise the contract. Prospective bidders will submit their bids, and we award to the low bidder. In this case, the low bidder was NATCO Limited Partnership. That's North American Trailing Company from Oak Brook, Illinois. They got the contract for about $12 million, and the scope of this contract is to place sand on the beach about 5,500 feet up here in the Surfside segment, and about 1,500 feet in the South Miami Beach area. The way the contractor is prosecuting the work is he's using a hopper dredge, which is the type of vessel, the vessel that we're on right now, which in essence is a ocean-going vessel that is like a giant vacuum cleaner. It has drag arms that will go down to the bottom of the ocean and in essence vacuum up sand and fill the hopper on the vessel, which is capable of carrying about more or less 3,000 cubic yards of material. The contractor is getting the sand from an offshore area below Government Cup. This is Key Biscayne right here. We're about a mile, a little bit more than a mile offshore. The contractor is digging the sand out of this borrow area, and then he's transporting it for the Surfside area to a booster barge, a jack-up booster barge, that's got a large pump on it that will actually pump the sand. The dredge has pumps that will pump from the dredge to the booster, and then the booster picks it up and pumps about a mile on the shore and then down the beach. We should be finished with the Surfside segment in a week or so. Then the jack-up booster will be relocated off of South Miami Beach, and we'll continue the operation in this area. This section is, as I mentioned earlier, 1,500 feet, so it's significantly shorter than the area up there at Surfside. When the material is pumped on the beach, the contractor is responsible for shaping it. In Surfside, we have a flat section, a berm of 250 feet. And then we have the sand slopes on down to the water at a slope 1 foot for every 20 foot horizontal. Down in the South Miami beach segment, the berm is a little bit shorter. It's 180 feet from the setback line, and then the slope is 1 foot vertical for 15 feet horizontal.
Why is the slope important?
The slope is important because the coastal engineers, when they design a beach to protect the shore from wave action, depending on the geography of the beach, they set the slope. So it's optimized to provide the maximum amount of beach protection. What we're looking at here is the Dredge Dodge Island. It's a hopper dredge that belongs to North American Trailing Company from the Chicago area. They have filled the hopper with sand, and right now they're connected to a booster pump, which is on the platform that you see out on the horizon up on the legs. That booster pump is pumping sand onto the beach. It's about 1 mile offshore. And the pipe that the sand is going through is about 30 inches in diameter, and the sand, in essence, is a slurry. It's mixed with water, and as this sand water slurry hits the beach, the water runs back out into the ocean, and the sand stays up on the beach. The contractor uses heavy equipment, bulldozers and such, to shape the sand into the beach profile that we require here on the beach. The goal here is that when the slurry comes out of the pipe, you got, again, you have a water-sand mixture, and as the slurry runs downhill, the sand settles out and stays on the beach. The water goes back out into the ocean. And this bulldozer you see here is spreading a little dike so that we get the sand to settle out before it goes out into the ocean. The slurry has to travel a certain distance before all the sand actually falls out. So that's what the bulldozer is doing, is creating this little pathway for the slurry in the attempt to get all the sand to settle out before the water gets out into the ocean. Later on, then the bulldozers will come back out here and actually shape the beach to the slope that's required by the contract. Those poles that you see out there are survey poles, and that tells the dozer operators when they have enough sand in a certain area. You get 100 feet of movement down the beach every day, just more or less, you know, on the average. So that can happen just in a matter of hours. Dredge holds maximum of about, let's say about 2,500 cubic yards of sand, which you can think of that, and it's probably like 300 dump trucks loaded with sand. So it does carry quite a bit of material at one time. This is the line. It's limp right now, but this is the connection that this is the sand goes through this flexible line.
My name is Howard Horry. I'm the captain of the Dodge Island. We're on board a split hull hopper dredge, which is involved in beach replenishment here in Miami Beach. It's approximately a 300-foot vessel with a 52-foot beam. We're typically taking out loads of 2,500 cubic yards of sand per load. It takes about an hour and a half to load the vessel. Right now, depending on the length of the pipeline, it's taking anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours to unload the vessel. I've been with NATCO for 17 years, 11 years as a captain, 10 years as captain of this vessel. The crew on board consists of 2 mates, 2 engineers, a chief engineer, a small steward department, and about 6 able-bodied seamen. The crew is from all over the country. We have fellows from Maine. We have people from right here in Florida. I happen to be from New York. The captains and the chief engineers work for 3 weeks and have 3 weeks off. The rest of the crew works for 4 weeks and has 2 weeks off. All transportation is taken care of by the company. So basically we have a pretty stable crew around here. So it's a very unique operation to the merchant marine. So we try to keep our crew members around as long as possible. Right now we're on our way to the borrow area. When we get to the borrow area, we have 27-inch suction pipes, drag arms, that we swing out over to the side. The end of the pipe, which is called the drag head, very much resembles your carpet upholstery suction on your vacuum cleaner. We drag that along the bottom. As we drive along at about 1 to 2 knots, we suck up the sand, and it gets deposited in the center of the ship, which we call the hopper. Once the ship is full of sand, we lift the arms up, we swing them back on deck, and we proceed to the pump-out area and the pump-out hose in the vicinity of the booster. There we hook up. We actually we drop the sand into a pipe full of water, and we pump the sand to the booster and then up onto the beach. This whole process right now, from round trip, from starting the pump to returning the pump, is taking about 6 hours.
My name's Eric Westerman. I'm the Endangered Species Observer on the Dredge. I work for Coastwise Consulting. The Dredge has screens on it, and basically I go through the screens and debris and look for turtle parts. And basically what I do is document any kills that we get on the dredge. And each job is allowed so many turtles we can take before we stop dredging and start trawling or something. Basically this job, we've had no problem. We've seen a couple turtles. We haven't seen them in the dig area. And we don't really expect to take any turtles right here just from the debris that we're picking up. It's just a lot of rock and shell and everything. There's not a lot of life down there that we're digging up that would attract the turtles here. And
body parts or any parts of turtles?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. And manatees are a concern, but not here. Basically, we're too far out here. You know, when we dig channels and everything, we have a much more likely chance to get turtles and watch for manatees and everything. But this job out here is really a smooth job as far as turtles and manatees.
My name is Philip Bates. I'm with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Jacksonville District. I'm a mechanical engineer with the construction branch. And I'm the QA inspector on this project for the Corps of Engineers for this week. We have 3 inspectors. We run, the dredge runs 24 hours a day, and the state permit requires us to be on board the whole time that the dredge is operating to assure that the Dredge stays within the bar limits. Also, to assure that the bow of the ship stays within an operational box that has been determined over sand. So if there's any problems with the line parting, the dredge will stop pumping sand, and we'll keep the sand off the coral reef. And we also are in charge of safety. Any safety violations or safety problems on the dredge, will note those and tell the captain of the vessel or the superintendent of the project. But we're in quality assurance. We assure that the contractor controls quality.
Every time we come out here and fill the hopper, turbidity is generated, and one of the requirements is that the contractor come out and take turbidity readings, because we have a limit, an upper limit beyond which we don't want to go, and which on this job we've never exceeded the limits. Here you can see the turbidity monitor taking a reading, which will be documented and submitted to the regulatory agencies. In addition to measuring the turbidity, divers from Durham dive adjacent reefs twice a week to actually measure any sediment that might have built up on the hard bottoms. And again, we have had no problems on this contract due to turbidity. The material that we're digging up is sand, basically, and sand is typically made up of coarse particles that settle out rapidly. The turbidity plume that you see right now, it's not as bad as it looks, because in a relatively short period of time it will settle out. It's not like that chalky, milky type turbidity that you see in some of the inland lakes. Since this material, again, is sand, it's just as if you had a glass of water and would put a couple of spoonfuls of playground sand in it and shake it around. It'll create a plume for a relatively short period of time, but then if you leave the glass, all that sand will settle out, and that's what we're seeing here. But just to be on the safe side, we do require that turbidity readings are taken so that we can monitor and document the level of turbidity that's generated. The way this is done is the turbidity monitor will lower a collecting device to various depths and collect water samples, and then these samples are taken back and measured for turbidity. Also, a measure is made outside of the plume so that we can get a background level as a comparison. But as I mentioned a while ago, on the job here, we have had no turbidity problems. In addition to taking these readings here in the Barrow area, we also take readings adjacent to the beach as we're placing sand up on the beach to make sure that we don't have turbidity problems up in the over in the beach area either.
In terms of how this project affects sea turtles, right now we actually are in sea turtle nesting season here. That runs from about May through October in Florida here. This project does have a lot of provisions in place for sea turtle protection. Dade County is somewhat unique in that because we have so many people that use the beach, and because we have such extensive development here, it's not really a practical thing to leave the sea turtle nests in place. So we actually have a program where the beaches are surveyed every morning. Any nests that are discovered, the eggs are relocated to a protected hatchery facility. In fact, if you look down the beach, you can see a little caged area up on the beach, and that's actually one of our hatcheries. In terms of the overall impact of sea turtles, of these projects on sea turtles, we've actually noted that it's been very beneficial. Back in 1978, before the beaches were restored, beach surveys indicated that very little nesting activity took place, which isn't surprising when you consider that about 50% of the beach really wasn't suitable nesting habitat. It was too low, it was too wet, or too narrow. What we've seen over the years is that as for every mile of beach that was restored, we saw an incremental increase in the amount of sea turtle nesting. So we've gone from about 10 nests per year or so in 1978 to where we're getting something on the order of about 300 to 400 in the same area now. So, and this isn't unique to our area. We've actually had areas upstate where there's been very little successful nesting activity. A beach nourishment project comes through, and we see the same sorts of dramatic increases. So this is an important ecological aspect of these projects, is that we are providing new nesting habitat where it didn't exist before. The beach itself that's being restored, it's a federal shore protection project, which means that it has very specific dimensions that need to be maintained, and that's all related to storm protection from hurricanes. This portion of the project is about 300 feet generally in width, and it comes up to an elevation of about 8 feet above the water. So it's a pretty substantial project. This segment of the project was originally restored in 1978. And this is the first time that we've actually had to come back and restore this portion of it. If we have a couple of storm events, you know, we could lose a lot of it in a short period of time. But overall, this segment has held up very well. If you look at it on an average basis, you can expect it to last somewhere between 7 and 10 years. The beach areas in Dade County are critical for a lot of reasons. The most obvious one is the fact that our whole economy down here is to a large extent based on tourism, and the reason that people come to Miami and South Florida is for the beaches. Back in the 1950s, you know, Miami and Miami Beach were still dependent on tourism. However, the beaches had eroded away to a large extent, and one of the factors that began to occur is that without the beach, tourists stopped coming. Without the protection that the beaches provide in front of the buildings, you began to get a lot of damage during storm events, and so it really became an economic problem for our area. The project itself, however, really is more based on storm protection than it is the economic benefits associated with tourism. I mean, that's almost an add-on that we get out of these projects. This specific project is designed to provide about 80% reduction in storm damage during a 100-year storm event. And just to put that into dollar amounts, Hurricane Andrew came through here in 1992, and that was the first storm that we really had that had impacted our beaches since it was originally built. After that storm, the Army Corps of Engineers did some computer models to determine what the impacts would have been, you know, less than probably 12 hours. About $20 million worth of property damage was prevented. So even though these projects are very expensive, when you start looking at the benefits they provide in terms of economic benefits associated with tourism and use of the beach and the storm damage reduction that occurs, they're actually a very, very good investment.